everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie podcast. I'm Stephanie Buckland. Super excited to be interviewing Shannon Briggs today. And I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. It's so relevant to what we're going through today as a community, as a global community. So thanks so much for being here, Shannon.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this conversation too. It's going to be exciting.
Most definitely. So I'd love for you to give us a little introduction of who you are and what kind of magic you're bringing to the world.
Okay, well, my name is Shannon Avery Briggs, and I own Luminous Connections, which is a company that offers coaching, high performance coaching, heart math coaching, as well as we've got a leg that we're developing on publishing. And I decided to do this after 25 years in the corporate world. So I was with the Boeing company for 25 years. I was really good at my job. But one of the things that I recognized and saw was that I was in that kind of that zone of excellence, but I wasn't in a zone of flow and of genius. And I'm quite creative. And so because of that, I wasn't getting satisfaction. And in 2016 was diagnosed with breast cancer. And initially I was like, let's just go take care of it. Let's go have the surgery, all of that, so that I can get back on with my life, back on with the business, back on with my career in corporate. And other things ended up happening. So I end up kind of getting these messages. Somehow I end up on a newsletter, about a more natural approach. And so my cancer journey, I chose not to do the standard of care treatments. So I didn't do chemo. I didn't do radiation. I did end up doing surgery towards the end, but by the time I went on the surgery, by the time that I had it, I was ready for it. And I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew what kind of conversations to have with the doctor. And so that journey ended up being more personal to me. And I didn't come away scared. And I didn't come away, hiding in the closet to get dressed. Because there were a lot of women that I met along the journey that they can't even get dressed in the light because of they can't look at themselves.
Right. The shame, the embarrassment. Right. Wow.
Yeah. And so I took on a different perspective of my scars. So Luminous Connections. Have you ever heard of the term kintsugi?
What does that mean?
So kintsugi is the Japanese art form of taking broken pottery and gluing it back together with that golden or silver or platinum adhesive. So ultimately, at the end, you'd have a piece that was actually more beautiful than the original pottery piece. And so when I look at my scars, that's what I see, is that because of the, thank you. So seeing the journey that I went through I had an amazing doctor that was quirky, but he also helped me to take a lot of those broken pieces that I had that even went beyond the cancer. I thought I was going in to get cancer treated, and it ended up being so much more than that. I was able to learn how to love myself again, and I learned how to be able to listen to myself, and it just ended up being this beautiful journey, which a lot of people don't talk about cancer that way. It doesn't mean that it wasn't hard. It doesn't mean that there were some times that really, really sucked. But overall, it's like it ended up changing my life to the point where I once again had, of course, COVID threw a loop into everything, having the shutdown
for everyone,
for everybody. And so, but coming out of that, I was like, hey, wait a minute, what do I really want to do? And so people kept asking me, because my journey is so crazy with some of the, I say crazy, actually, it just, there were so many cool moments throughout.
Yeah, it sounds very unique.
It definitely was. that they were like, you got to write a book, you got to write a book. And so I considered doing that, and it's on the to-do list for the future. So I retired this last January in from the corporate world after taking a look. I found Brendan Burchard, and his coaching program just resonated with something very similar to what my doctor took me through, and because I wanted to be able to help other people too.
Yeah.
So so I ended up becoming certified in this last March, and starting my coaching program then with Luminous Connections. And so Luminous Connections too, if you think about that name, it's like connecting and having it gold. So it all ended up kind of intertwining, even without me planning it. But so that's kind
So
of a
cool.
little that's kind of a little bit where I started, and kind of how I got to where I am today.
Yeah. So what turned it into a business? I mean, after you went through the high performance coaching with Brandon Burchard and their team. I mean, I actually have that book and
Yeah.
I've read it. It is a powerful book. I'm curious how you got illuminated to start this Luminous Connections company. Where did it come from?
So because of going through the I'd actually had kind of poo-pooed the idea of coaching because I met so many people. I'm a survivor of domestic violence as well, and even I coached cancer patients while I was going through cancer. Even we had a support group, and I coached them. And one of the things that ended up kind of happening is that people would be like, "Here's the keys to my body. Just give it back to me when you're done." Instead of like taking responsibility. So I really didn't want to go into that space. But when I saw the power of being a client myself, and seeing the power of this proprietary process that this high performance coaching offers, I was like, I don't need to create my own coaching program. It's already there. And it just lit me up to really be able to help other people. And so when they offered the certification last March, I'm like, I'm in. Just join me up. And so I ended up, I signed up for that. I started my business. They help kind of guide you through some stuff, and even with putting your business together and how to do a website and the tools and all that kind of stuff. And then I ended up signing up also for one of his masterminds called Ultra,
Okay.
which is a mastermind coaching program that is amazing. I like to call it my jet fuel. So it has really helped me to have that network of people, also to keep me inspired, keep me learning, keep me hold me accountable because my book that I just published this last month, I set the goal to have it done by the next month with my accountability partners. And so I couldn't let them down, right? I couldn't face them again and say, okay, this isn't going to happen. So because of that accountability, I was able to do that. I was able to hit the publish button, and it has taken off its own life. My little book that I had no idea that it would.
That's so exciting. I would love to share a little bit more about your book. So, was it the coaching that actually led to writing?
The coaching, so remember back when I talked about the cancer journey and stuff, and how people said, let's write your book, I want you to write your book, and I really encourage you, just got an amazing story. I ended up with a crappy book coach who
Oh.
took advantage of me, and who did nothing for me, and didn't really teach me the things. So I was this close to going back to corporate, because I'm like, I got to do this. And that same exact week that I had an interview, I got an invitation to some publishing training. And so I was like, holy cow. So I went ahead and did that, and also ended up in some advanced coaching courses as well. So it was like, okay, this is the path that my what my subconscious or whatever is telling me you need to go down this path. So as part of the publishing, what they did is they actually gave us a 7-day challenge,
Oh,
right?
cool. Okay.
Right, and publish a book
In
in
7 days.
7 days. And so I went to my mastermind in August, and at that meeting, August 1st, and I said, okay, I have to hit the publish button by the time that we meet in a couple of weeks. And I did that. So by the time that September 1st came along, I had my book.
Nice. So what is it called?
So my book is called, and this is probably backwards, but Triumph Over Darkness, My Journey.
Okay.
And I was it's little, but it, from what I'm told by some of my readers and stuff, is that it packs a punch. And so it was a 7-day challenge by my publishing company that to do this book. So I did it, and 2 days after it was published, Reader's Magnet reached out to me. So they are a readers magazine that they said, we want to represent your book in Frankfurt, Germany, at the Frankfurt, Germany International Book Fair. And I was like, what? I was like, what? This little thing? And they were like, yeah, we think that it would be a really good thing to highlight over there. And so I went ahead with it. So now we're working, we've done the marketing and stuff. And so it's probably about a month from now, I think, is when that book fair is going to be going on.
You're going to be going to Germany. That's exciting.
It's going to, yeah. So I signed my little copy that's heading taken the trip to Germany. I personally am not going to go. They're representing me while I'm there. But in the yeah. In the meantime, I've had a few people out of Texas. Once again, that network and meeting that network and having the right people in your life and in your environment reached out, and they are starting a set of safe houses for women coming out of domestic violence. And so they want to have my book as part of their welcome kit.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really been very humbling too, to have this be such, like I said, it's a little book, but it has a huge power punch. So
beautiful. I love that you're making waves in the world with this. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So you mentioned, before we hit record, you mentioned you also had a certification through HeartMath.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about your experience with the Institute of HeartMath. I love that company. I love that they're publishing science about heart and the energy fields and everything. It's such a great company.
So I was introduced to HeartMath over 25 years ago. I worked in the benefits department at the Boeing company, and they were about ready to outsource. And I had a brilliant boss back then that said, I'm going to help these people get through this difficult situation. And so they brought in a workshop back then, back 25 years ago. And so I learned those basics, of some of those HeartMath techniques. So when and I've taken them with me all along all these years. I may not have
me too.
I may not have remembered like freeze frame exactly and some of those others, but that heart focused breathing and setting that intention and basically putting yourself and re-experiencing that emotion helped me so many times throughout the years with what I have gone through, with some of the challenges that we've gone through. And so when I came out of the cancer journey and came back to the corporate world after my medical leave from that, I was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And so I thought, well, maybe I can use some coaching within the corporate world. And so I was able to get certified at that point in time. I didn't really, it was hard to get traction. I worked mostly with engineers. And so unless they're really ready to open up and have those conversations is a challenge. So I didn't do much with that at that time. But as I started my business, there's a gal that does social network marketing that training. So she's got a coaching program that does that. And she invited me to her group. So once a month, I actually have gone in and coached on HeartMath with her group. to help them with that. So anytime that I can, I kind of incorporate it into it may be into the high performance coaching if it seems applicable at the moment. And so I use them together.
That's awesome. So things are moving forward with your book and your business. This is an exciting time for you, Shannon.
It is.
So what's next?
What is next? So my husband, on a side note, or on a sad note, not we lost his son this last June to a drug overdose. Thank you. And my husband was actually an addict for 30 years, starting in middle school and up through high school, and it just grew. And so by the time he's been clean now for 10 and a half years and is just amazing with how he's learned and grown and not gotten stuck in like that, some of those emotional stuck pieces that we can get, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's cancer, whether it's addiction. So he now he's a sponsor in AA as well as NA. And we've decided he's my first employee. So he's getting certified in high performance coaching as well. And we're kicking off a group coaching program mid-November. And so to take some of those points, some of the things that we've learned, because one of the things that we've had tough crap. We've had tough crap in our life. Yeah. And so many of those types of things even can break couples apart, but we just have continued to get stronger and grow closer, and we just have an amazing relationship. And so we want to be able to help other people with the tools that we've learned to help them get unstuck and to move on and actually be able to feel alive, to have an aliveness in their life to where they enjoy it, to where at the end of the day, they can reflect and go, wow, that was cool. That interaction with so-and-so just touched my heart, or have the appreciation for the sunrise that came up in a different way. Because we get so busy with what's going on day to day that a lot of times we don't reflect on that. We don't think about it, and we don't really live.
So we're so completely convinced that we just have to keep do, go, that we forget to be. Yes. And just be present. Yeah. So that's something I've talked about for years, is just be present, be in this moment right here, right now, pay attention to what's happening. And it's a powerful mind shift, because when you are present, then you see the subtle shifts in somebody's energy, or you can see things on a much deeper level. I think that there's just so much more you get out of it. Yeah. Honestly, I think that is the same when you do the heart coherence practice, heart math. You bring attention to what your heart is speaking in every moment. Yep. And your heart has intelligence. So there's, we get nudges from our intuition. Sometimes it's the heart speaking to us. It is a powerful organ in our bodies, and it's something that I think that people just don't really understand, that there is a brain in your heart space. There's also a brain in your stomach space. We have intelligence in our stomach. It is unbelievable when you really dive in and learn about the human body and what it can do. It's just amazing.
And that energy field, that electromagnetic energy field that goes out from our heart, is at least over 100 times the distance that the electromagnetic field that goes out from our brain.
Yep. And I personally made that connection as a young person. I knew that I could feel other people's energy. I knew I was an empath by the time I was about 16, and I could feel things. I felt people's emotions. I felt people's intentions. I could hear what they were thinking. And I'm like, okay, this is getting a little weird. I didn't know at the time that I was psychic. So I had a lot of work to do to get to this place. But what I learned as a young person is energy can be transferred, that we could share
Mhm.
our energy. And I just knew this intuitively. And so I started to share my heart energy with people. I started to share love as just support for other people. And I had no idea what I was doing, but it was essentially like energy healing. And I had
Wow.
no, so I think that it's really amazing now that I've come full circle and gotten into my own business and what I can do. I had no idea that this is where I would end up,
Yeah.
and it's just such a beautiful thing. So thank you for inspiring me today, Shannon.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. And
Definitely.
so are you certified in heart math?
I am not. It was one of those things that I thought about and I was like, well, do I really need it?
Yeah.
But I think it could enhance my business. I'll think about it. I do love the idea of having a book and getting it out there and having so much attention paid to it. I wrote a book in 2020 at the very end of the pandemic, or at the end of 2020,
Uh-huh.
and I finished it in like 60 days, so it was really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it out there on Amazon, it's self-published, and I got crickets. So I'll make a point to add a little note and I'll add the link to my own book in this video. But
Yeah.
I definitely want to share your link so people can buy your book. And
Okay.
also, do you have any final thoughts, any inspiration you'd like to share?
So if anybody wants to hear like kind of more about a little bit about my story and stuff, I've got my website, which is www.luminous-connections, which kind of has my bio. I call myself a multifaceted survivor because
Yes.
we've gone through so many things and stuff. So you can learn more about me there. And with my coaching, the CHPC coaching, I always offer a free discovery session where we go into like really looking at maybe clarity, influence, your psychology, those types of things right from the get-go. So you can experience some of the coaching right from the get-go and decide whether it would be a good fit.
Awesome. Okay. And people can sign up for that discovery session on your website.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay. I'll include the link for the website in the descriptions for this recording as well. And any final thoughts?
No, thank you for your time. I'd say no. And then thank you. Thank you for your time. This has been awesome. And I love your energy and I love that you are open and was willing to listen to my crazy little story. And I look forward to even getting to know you more in the future.
I love that, Shannon. Thank you so much.
Yep. And when my podcast kicks off in probably 6 months or so, I'll have you come on mine.
Awesome. Okay. It's a date.
All right, sounds good.